Hi everyone, welcome to the American Computer Enthusiast Show. My name's Steve Reeves and we've got another great show. We've got Robert Thornton, technical consultant from Hewlett Packard here in Houston, and we're going to talk about what's new at HP, what's new at Hewlett Packard. I better say this so everybody knows what HP is. Most people do, but so stay tuned and I'll be right back. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. In case you just tuned in, this is the American Computer Enthusiast Show. My name is Steve Reeves and I'm the host. And what we put together today is what's new at Hewlett Packard. I've got Robert Thornton. He's a technical consultant. I knew I'd goof that up at least once. Technical consultant from Hewlett Packard here in Houston. And he's going to talk about, we've got brand new HP LaserJet 5. This is the 5M printer. We've got the 855 DeskJet. And we've got the infrared network.
Right, NetBeam IR.
NetBeam IR. And then an infrared doohickey. I think that's a technical term, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's connected to the
it's a trademark term, too.
Yeah, trademark? Okay, good. And so what we're going to do, first thing I want to do is I guess we ought to introduce Robert and ask him what he does. He's actually been on the show how many times have you been on?
Like two times, I believe.
Times?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you tell us, what do you do there at HP?
Yeah, what I do is I work with our sales reps who work with our resellers and customers around town, mainly regarding our PCs, servers, networking products, and of course our printers, DeskJets and LaserJets, and helping people understand what product best meets their needs.
Great. Yeah, these are like hot off the press, right?
Right. In fact, April 29th is the announcement date of the LaserJet 5, 5N, and 5M. So those three printers are announced April 29th, so they're pretty much hot off the press.
All right. And like you say, we have, I want to make sure I've got all this right so everybody knows what we're going to show today. We have the LaserJet 5M, right?
That's correct.
Which is is that the PostScript version?
The 5M is a printer that has PostScript, as you mentioned, has additional memory and a connection in the back for connecting to a network in a Macintosh.
All right. And this is the 855, what is it?
CXI.
CXI.
Right.
Brand new also?
Brand new also. It's been out for about a few weeks now, but pretty much hot off the press as well. A little bit cooler than the 5.
Okay. It's had some time to cool. And this is the, this thing here, and I'll hold it up real fast just so people can see. And this actually be like in the second or third segment of the show when we get to this. But this is actually the NetBeam IR infrared when it connects to like the notebooks that have a network connection. And we'll talk about how it all connects in the back and everything else.
Yeah, it's pretty much new technology though, so it's a new product category. Pretty exciting stuff happening there.
Okay. And before we go on, I want to make sure everybody, I have a bunch of things to talk about today also. We'll answer email, we'll show the website of the week, we've got magazines, books, all types of different things to talk about. So make sure you watch the whole show, all right? Don't go anywhere. I guess we want to start off with the printer?
Okay, great.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about this printer? This is the LaserJet 5M.
Right. Well, essentially what we've done with the LaserJet 5M is it replaces the LaserJet 4 family, the 4 Plus and the 4M Plus. And what we've done is what people are asking for, faster print speed and better print quality. So the engine speed is rated the same as what the 4 Plus is, but the processing power inside the printer can handle the complex graphics much faster than the previous generation printer could. So it handles data a lot quicker than before.
Yeah, the 4 has been out for a while.
Yeah.
And I know there's, like you say, there's the 5P and the 5L's been out for a while, and everybody's been asking, when's the regular 5?
Exactly. The 5P is one step below this printer, and then the 5L is one step below the 5L. And of course, above this guy, we have the 5SI, which is our full workgroup network printer. Right. And then a 4V, still one 4 left in the family that handles 11x17 printing.
Oh, okay. The 5, I know the 5SI, that wins the prize for the heaviest printer.
That's correct. That's certainly a two-person printer there to move that guy around.
One time I had to move the 4SI by myself, and I couldn't walk for a week.
Yeah, they're almost theft-proof, basically.
Yeah, they are. You don't even need to tie them down.
No.
So the 5M, like you say, it's the big brother to like the 5L. The 5L is just a little personal. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Even though it's L. What does L stand for?
Low end?
Low end,
How's that
okay.
sound?
And
Yeah.
P, I guess, is the P version is personal.
That's correct. So really the 5 and 5M are really designed to be used in an office environment where maybe a few people are sharing it, maybe 5 to 10 people are sharing that printer, so more than likely will be on a network. But as you said, the 4 Plus has been around for a while, and that's been pretty much the workhorse or the leader in terms of mid-range printing.
So what are some of the features on this one here that most people would be looking for as far as...
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier about print speed, and I talked about the faster processing. One other thing we've done to that is we've increased or changed the printer language that the printer understands. And what that means to people printing is that instead of sending over a bunch of data to the printer to get a graph to print out, it takes a lot less data to make that same graph print out. So the bottom line, bottom benefit to people is that it prints out quicker than before than you would get with the LaserJet 4 Plus. So it's what we call PCL level 6. It's the printer language has been upgraded. It used to be 5. Well, it took a lot of marketing guys a long time to come up with PCL 6, so that's what we have now, and it offers faster printing.
And as far as like the, I was going to say the paper tray. My brain went dead there for a second.
Yeah, paper handling is very similar to what we had with the LaserJet 4. In fact, if I could hold up a sheet that has kind of some different options there for paper handling. Kind of zoom in there if you can.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. You can see right down there, there's a lower bin that can be installed. That'll give you 500 sheets additional paper. And then there's also duplexing assembly. That's this little sliver right there in between the bin and the base printer. That allows you to print on both sides of the paper. And then, of course, there's an envelope feeder that plugs in up top there that allows you to power feed envelopes.
So those are all options you can add to this?
Those are all options. I guess it would help to talk about what's standard on the printer. And that is a fold-down tray in the front that holds about 100 sheets. And then a 250... Yeah.
I don't know if you can...
This folds down. Put 100 sheets in there. You could put miscellaneous types of paper, like a few envelopes if you wanted to, or legal size paper. And then there's a 250 sheet bin. That's standard as well. So out of the box, you have 2 paper sources to choose from: the fold-down tray or the bin.
All right. Now, does memory work the same way with this? The little SIMs that are in the back?
Right. The memory, similar to what we're using on LaserJet 4 with the SIMs that plug in there. PostScript is also a SIM.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the same technology. They're industry standard SIMs that you'd use in PCs. So it's
a lot of people ask that question: can they use the same SIM, or is it something completely
It's not proprietary.
different?
No. It varied from printer to printer for a while there. It was a little bit confusing, but essentially nowadays we're on non-parity SIMs, 32-bit SIMs, 70 nanosecond, and that would work fine in there.
So just plain, the regular old SIMs that you can buy just about anywhere. Right. Then also the connections on the back. I don't want to ask you to turn that around because it weighs a lot. What are
Be bouncing around.
What are the connections? There's a...
Well, I'll tell you what we have back there. Yeah, we've got the regular Centronics or high-speed parallel port. So a lot of PCs nowadays are coming with what we call EPP, Enhanced Parallel Port, and ECP, Enhanced Capabilities ports, that allow you to send data from your parallel port much quicker to the printer. So we have that support on the printer. I mean, it doesn't help you have a high-speed parallel port on your PC if it's not fast on the back of the printer. So it handles data coming in there very quickly through the EPP port. There's also a serial port for PCs that still require serial connections. We can accommodate that. And then with the 5M, remember I said it had the Ethernet connections as well as the Macintosh connections. So those are standard on the 5M. The regular 5 doesn't have those additional ports on there.
And drivers, the discs come with it, so that it's got drivers for Windows 95 and everything else. And it also comes with the Macintosh drivers then, if you on the 5M.
On the 5M, right. Now notice there was another one in there called a 5N.
Yeah, I was going to.
What do you think the N stands for?
Nothing.
It's an empty box. No, N stands for network.
Oh.
So with the 5N, what you get is a basic 5 printer, but a network card in the back, just to allow you to get Ethernet connection. So it doesn't have PostScript. But it still allows you to connect onto a network for regular PCL printing.
Okay. Now, how does this compare? I know we had some graphics here. Do we want to show something like this thing here? I mean, this actually is. Go ahead and show that.
Okay. Some sample printout from the LaserJet 5.
Now, that's off of a program. That's the micrographics designer.
Right.
I don't know if they can really see how great that really looks, but it is crisp and clean.
Yeah. One of the big issues people talk about is print quality, and a lot of times, and we're responsible for this probably in early going, is dots per inch. A lot of people say, well, what's the dots per inch of the printer? And so we've got this little catchy phrase nowadays that says, use your eye, not DPI. and that is really just look at the output and see what you think looks best to your eye.
Right.
What we've done is we've got some special algorithms built into the printer to do edge smoothing and get some really good grayscales in there, so you see the nice shades of gray that you see there.
I got to write that down. Use your eye, not
DPI. Right.
I'm just kidding. I'll see if I can remember that. And we have this one here. This is another printer. I don't think people can actually see this, but this actually kind of is the same sort of deal as far as use your eye, not DPI.
Yeah, what we have here is printed on this sheet of paper 2 images. The top half is printed on the LaserJet 5 at 600 DPI, which is what this printer, the core engine is rated at is 600 DPI. And at the bottom here is 1200 DPI. So a couple things. First off, he says, okay, well, use your eye, which one looks best to you, but also there are other things that come into play when you start getting higher dots per inch. Each one of those dots represents a piece of data. And so the more dots you have, the more data you have. So what does that do to the number one thing that customers are wanting is faster print speed. So if you have all this data in there, it takes a lot longer to print out something that might not look as good at a lower resolution. So it goes back to use your eye, not DPI, and especially on network printing, the print speed is certainly an issue. People want that output yesterday.
All right. Now, does this have the same sort of, I don't know what you call it, intelligence that the other HPs have when you load that software? It tells you when the paper's out and those kind of things?
Right. Yeah, there are a couple things that we have with the Explorer and also the drivers. Yeah. We have more feedback that goes to the driver. You know, I talked about those parallel ports before, the EPP and ECP. Well, one of the things they allow you to do is to get information back from the printer. And so now through that status, we can find out more information about the printer, whether it's out of paper, out of toner, that kind of data there. So
a lot of people like those cool things. You know, it says, you know, if you have a soundboard, or even a speaker driver or whatever, it'll say papers out or papers disconnected, or I guess it wouldn't say. I guess it does say power's not on. But,
Can't talk
but this one does have a power switch, though.
It does have a power switch, yeah.
It's not the green machine.
It is a green machine. We do have the power save mode. Yeah, it will shut down. In fact, when I try and print something out here, it'll probably be in power save mode, so it'll take it a few seconds to warm back up there.
You want to print something out?
Yeah, well, it's actually relating to that other I.O. port that we were going to talk about, so I guess we go ahead and talk about it now.
Go ahead.
I failed to mention one of the I.O. ports there, and one of them is called an infrared port. So we have this option here, plugs into the back of the printer, hold it up here, kind of looks like a little, like a mouse, with a little, with a green, with a little window up front. Can we get a picture of that?
Yeah, hold on.
There we go. So what this little guy does, it plugs into the back of the printer, and it's mainly designed for laptop users. Kind of get it out there, you can see it. So I'll power up my laptop here.
Yeah, show them on the back of that right there. I don't know if they can see that or not. We're going to keep this camera guy on his toes here, jumping around.
Right dead center of my laptop, you see a little black window, and that is an infrared port. And for people that use remote controls on their TVs, it's the exact same interface. Yeah, did you get it there?
Yeah.
So people that use remote controls has the same type interface. It's an infrared port is what you use to change channels.
Great. So no cables?
No cables. So what I do is I have the connection for my printer, and there are other accessories out there for third parties for other printers to allow you to do this. And basically I'll just walk up with my printer, and I got to get my password set in here. And I can print directly to my LaserJet 5 without connecting the parallel port and going through different cables there. It all transferred through the infrared port. I love it when a demo works. It's really a nice feeling. Yeah.
Especially on TV.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Right.
Now, that will, you were saying something about, now, does that just work with that printer right there?
Yeah, okay, this connection here is specifically for this printer. There are other companies out there. One that comes to mind is Extended Systems, and what they have is a connection that ties into the parallel port of printers, and it has a similar type device out here. So it would go to any parallel port printer and allow you to do infrared printing. Okay?
Cool.
So it's essentially a serial port is what it transfers as. 115 kbaud, so it's very quick, very fast.
That's equal to like a normal parallel port?
It's a little bit slower than a parallel port, than a normal, well, especially with the high-speed parallel ports, EPP and ECP. So what you're getting here is really the convenience of being able to print out pretty quickly. But
I'd rather have no cables and have it a little slower.
Yeah, and just be able to walk up and print.
Now, what about on a huge, does it make any difference on a huge document? I mean, does it just go continuous?
It just goes continuous. Yeah, it will go continuous. And in fact, if I were to interrupt the beam, I mean, there's actually a beam of light going between here. If I were to interrupt that, it would time out for a while, and then when I move my hand out of the way, the opposite would start going again. So
if you didn't, and you're in an office and you didn't like somebody, you could kind of just put your hand there.
Yeah. What's going on there?
That's like, I remember these mice, it was a company called Torrington, and they had cordless mice. and you could actually sit at the other desk, and you could move, because they were all the same frequency. It was the goofiest thing I've ever seen. And you could actually sit there with your mouse, and you could move their cursor around. I was using CAD, and you could move the cursor around, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. The cursor was moving around on the screen, you know, because they're all the same. I wonder how that works with this. I wonder if there's...
Well, no, this thing has a line of sight of about 1 meter, so it's about 3 feet is what it works with. So you're not going to get a guy from the next cubicle messing up the printing here.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty much line of sight, made for convenient setup.
And you said, now, I know that there are other vendors out there, other notebook vendors that have that infrared. So there's a standard for that?
The standard is called IRDA, Infrared Data Association. People call it IRDA. And there's a group of about 40 people right now that are manufacturers that are developing products around that. Extended Systems, I mentioned, is one. All the main laptop vendors are integrating infrared into their printers now because it's pretty inexpensive to do, and it's a nice little feature there.
Right.
What's happening, though, is the speeds are increasing, as we'll talk about with the network part here later. For networking, you need a lot faster speeds than 115K, so we got some things happening there for faster input. So what I'm hoping is that they're going to have infrared mice, or pointing devices, and I thought of a good name for it. I thought we'd call them fur balls, but I don't know if that would for fast infrared, but we'll see.
Oh, FIR.
FIR, fast infrared, so called fur ball.
So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
What are the things about that? I know the one thing I guess we can talk about real fast. I know that I found that if anybody wants any more information about this, this is something that I downloaded. This is from the Hewlett Packard, or HP, web page. And this actually is, again, hot off the press. It was announced today.
Today, yeah,
and this is on there already.
Right.
And I was able to download all this information. Actually, there was even a demo, a little walk-around demo of the printer. I don't know if we wanted to show this or not, but I guess we could, just to show people what's going on. But and this actually, I'll show I mean, it's real easy to say what it is. The web page address is www.hp.com. Pretty easy. Couldn't be much shorter.
Yeah.
www.hp.com, and I'll show it at the end of the show. And again, anything we talk about today, any of these web pages or anything else will be on my web page. By the way, before I go any further, I want to make sure I tell everybody that one thing. I've had more people leave me emails that they can't find my web page. I have no idea what the problem is, but maybe you're typing in www before. There is no www. It's just users. It's http://users.aol. But I'll bring it up at the end. But people were saying that you had to be an America Online person in order to get it. You don't, because I tried it from work today and I was able to get it, and I don't have America Online at work. Actually, I do, but I mean, I don't use that. We use Netscape with our regular provider. But for some reason, some people are having a problem getting on my web page. I don't know if it's just the graphics part of it or getting on altogether, but I have all kinds of people leave me email that says they can't get on my web page. So I'll show it at the end of the show and see if we can figure out what they're doing wrong. I'm not sure, but the one good thing about this your web page, and we can talk about this more later, but I use this web page all the time for drivers. It has all the new drivers for desk jets, for the laser jets, for the scanners. If you ever lose your disks for some reason on any of your HP devices, anything, you can download the drivers, and they're always up to date. It's real good. It's a real good web page. I use it all the time, and also just to find out what's going on, what's new, all kinds of. Because we just recently we have a couple of HP, the 2CX scanners, the color scanners at work, and no one could find the disks. Well, I was able to get on this web page and download all the drivers, and boom, everything was working great. So.
Yeah, it's a good place. We call it Access HP. There are some really good search engines out there for finding ScanJet drivers or printer drivers, so there's a wealth of information.
And information on anything you want to know about, anything having to do with HP. They're telling me we need to take a break here. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. In case you just tuned in, this is the American Computer Enthusiast Show. My name is Steve Reeves, and I'm the host. And we've got Robert Thornton. He's what are you, technical consultant, again I goofed it up, or system engineer.
There you go, whichever one's easier. Yeah,
slash
systems engineer.
SE, how
There you
about
go.
that?
Yeah.
It's even easier. From Hewlett Packard here in Houston, and we're talking about what's new at Hewlett Packard. We've already talked a little bit about the HP LaserJet 5, 5M this is,
Right.
and we're going to talk about the 855 CXI. And what we're going to do, there was a few things that we forgot to talk about this, but before we go into that, I'm going to show a couple of things. I always try to show, you know, software of the week, book of the week, magazine of the week, web page of the week, whatever you want to talk about. This is my book of the week. This has become a hot new thing. Hot new thing, that's pretty good. Hot new thing. The the Microsoft NT server. For a number of reasons. One, ease of use, like over Novell. Novell is probably still the standard for networks, but this is becoming really hot in small businesses, and in not only small, but a lot of different sizes, but it's real easy to hook up, easy to configure with Windows 95, even Windows 3.1 and Windows for workgroups and things like that. But we just installed another NT network at BMC, an NT server for our Oracle financial software. And it is so easy to use and configure and set up for, you know, domains and people to, you know, to log in and everything else. It's unbelievable, mostly because it's the Windows interface. It makes it real simple to set up. But this is the book that I just recently bought. It's put out by Microsoft NT Server, one step at a time. And it's real good. It shows exactly how to set things up, how to configure things, how to set up domains and set up users, how to add things to it. But this is becoming a really hot item. And with the new 4.0 version coming out soon, it'll be even hotter. And to go along with that, there's magazines. There's a couple of different magazines out, but this is just one that I brought. Windows NT magazine, which shows, you know, all the new software that works with NT. And this not only talks about NT server, but the NT client and, you know, the desktop part. But it's again, this comes out every month, and it's a great magazine to get you up to snuff on what's going on with NT. And that's it. But actually, there's an article in here about the Windows NT 4.0. So that's my magazine and book of the week. All right, why don't we go ahead and talk about the ports on the back. We turned the printer around. It took two of us. Well, not really, but these are the ports on the back. I'll point to them here. See, if I better move over a little bit. I better not move over too far. I'll be
Okay, you're going to point and I'm going to talk? Or,
yeah, this is it right here.
We got the high-speed parallel port.
All right. That's nothing.
That's a screw. That's a screw. That's a screw port.
You undo it, pull it out.
Yeah, that points out that's a card that differentiates a 5M from a regular LaserJet 5. So everything you see on that card right there.
Yeah, these two screws right here, if you undo that, this actually is a card that pulls out.
Exactly, a jet direct card is what we call it.
And you can actually add that to a regular one, right?
Exactly.
After the fact.
Exactly. If it's a token ring environment, well, obviously they don't have any need for the Ethernet connection, so they could just get a regular 5 and put a token ring card in there.
Yeah. So if you have for example, just a 4, you know, that same sort of card goes in a 4, and it just slides in there. I think does this have the same sort of cards for like I don't know if on the HP 7550, the plotters. I mean, and the
design jet plotters.
Plotters.
Right. The design jet plotters have the
same sort of connection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. And then there's what else? I'm not looking what I'm doing here.
Okay, that's the local talk port for Macintosh connections.
All right.
And then you have two Ethernet ports, the 10 base T and the BNC. So you choose one of them. One of those would be active.
All right. And then
that's the infrared.
This is what this is connected to, the infrared. And then below that is
serial.
Oh,
the little cables.
right
Yeah. Cables.
All right. Not many people use serial for printers much anymore.
We find it sometimes in Unix environments where they need a serial connection.
True. I didn't even think of that. But even that, a lot of Unix people now have parallel ports.
Or going over the network.
Right.
So
there's probably not much reason, and it's slower.
Right.
And but it's nice to have it because some of the printers now don't even give you an option.
Exactly.
It's only parallel with nothing else. But for 99% of most regular users, as opposed to irregular, parallel port is just fine.
Exactly.
And then the other one down here, and then the power on the bottom. You can't see it, but there's power down there.
Yeah.
Right there. That's all right. You don't have to show that.
There it is.
All right, but that's the back of the 5. Anything else back here that we should look at?
Not really. Pretty boring back there.
Yeah, this is a little doohickey thing. I think it's tape, but there for the paper jam or anything else.
Yeah. You'll never have to open that door.
I was going to say, you never.
It stays shut all the time.
And then on the side, we don't want to take it apart. On the side is where you put the sims
for PostScript and additional memory.
Right.
Right. And one point to bring up about memory is that additional memory can actually help improve performance, especially if the printer is being shared, because what it does is it allows multiple jobs to be sent to the printer, and it can be processing all of those and keep that engine running at full tilt the whole time. So extra RAM does help.
I don't know if you want to show the screen here. This is actually, I wanted to make sure everybody saw what the Hewlett Packard web page address was. It's http://www.hp.com. In case someone didn't write it down before, they didn't know what I was talking about or something, this is the address. If you want to download drivers for HP, any device you have, or find information about anything.
The product information, exactly.
Right. As a matter of fact, well, we can go in here. I don't know how fast this will come up here, but we can go to this. There's a little walk around that we downloaded from the web page that actually explains all the devices and how to add devices or what's available as far as
accessories. And
of course, where did it go there? Let's do this. Well, it disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably loading. Let's just keep going here.
Yeah. A couple of the points to mention on the printer there too. The toner cartridge that's used is the exact same as what's used with the LaserJet 4, so there's some compatibility there for the LaserJet 4 printers. One thing we changed is the front panel, and the accessibility and stepping through the different menu options there was a lot easier to go through.
You're not going to make me turn this around.
I'm not going to make you turn it around. No, we'll make it. We'll let you off the hook this time. But one of the neat things on there is a little button there that says Job Cancel. And so a lot of times people would send a 40-page document. It's like, oh no, I need to make a change to page 22. Stop this thing, and it was next to impossible to get an older printer to stop. Well, now we have a Job Cancel button on the front of the printer to clear it all out.
That's great. Now this thing did come up here.
Okay.
And actually we were talking about it earlier. I don't know if you can see, this is actually a little walk-around demo of this printer, and it had the 3 different printers, 5, 5N, and 5M.
Right.
And I just picked 5M there, I'm sorry. And you go to accessories, and it actually shows the accessories over here on the side. The cartridge, we'll just pick one. It actually shows it on there. So you can see that's the little envelope feeder. Hit the next one. That's a little optional tray that goes underneath. This is the little duplex thing that goes underneath that slides out right there. There's the wireless.
The infrared.
Little card we were just talking about, Jet Direct. Every single thing we've talked about.
Yeah, pretty slick.
This is this is something pretty cool.
Yeah, Printer Pal is an accessory that we have that plugs into the parallel port and allows you to send and receive faxes. So it has a phone line connection to it, plugs right into the parallel port, and then of course your printer cable plugs on the other side of the Printer Pal.
So this is a so it's actually a plain paper fax machine
with that Printer Pal. And the Printer Pal also has a serial cable that goes back to your PC, so that allows you to send send faxes from your PC back to that Printer Pal, and it'll send it back out. So it is a send and receive fax. Of course, we haven't figured out a way to get a sheet of paper to go through there to do hard copy faxing. It's mainly for electronic faxing.
Right. And then here's the SIMs. It's like it shows the side comes off, and you put the SIMs in there. And you can do that. So you can go through each one of these. So if you want to find out, actually there's a little walk around for most all the printers that are available from HP. I know there's one for the 5P, and I'm pretty sure there's one for the 5L. So anyone that's not sure about what printer they want to use or buy, they can go through this and find out what's the best for them.
Exactly.
All right? So we'll just say quit, say yes, and blank screen there. Okay, and there's the web page right there. All right, let's just exit out of here, and we'll just go back. This actually is, I actually logged on. This is through Netscape. And through a provider, you can see I logged on to www.hp.com. Like you said, they actually call it Access HP. And if you go down here, you can see there's access guide about HP, news, products. If you go to products, it'll go to peripherals. It'll go to whatever you want. I mean, there's all different types of things. And it's broken down into scanners, printers, fax, or what do they call those new things? Multi-use.
Yeah, multifunction.
Multifunctional devices, like the ones that are is a printer and a fax and whatever.
Copier and
those things
scanner.
are pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. And so anyways, we want to talk about the 855 now?
Okay.
Now that I've talked too much?
That's fine. Keep me from having to talk too much.
So this is the DeskJet 855 CXI.
Right. Again, a pretty new printer. It replaces the DeskJet 850. So you might want to know what the difference is between the 855 and the 850. It's 5.
Oh,
Any
okay.
question? Oh, no. Basically what we do with the 855 is that we increase the print speed a bit in both monochrome and color. It's 7 pages per minute monochrome and 3 pages per minute color maxed out there.
Great.
So it's pretty quick. It's what we call our fastest personal inkjet printer. Next step up from here is the DeskJet 1600C, which is more the networkable printer, but this is substantially less expensive than that, and it's very fast in terms of output. So we bettered the print speed on it, increased the allowed some network connectivity features there, and did some driver enhancements. So it's a better look and feel driver under Windows 95. So made some enhancements there. Okay.
Yeah, I have a 540 on my desk, and as, you know, and I have other printers too, but I have the 540 on my desk at work just as sort of a check printer.
Yeah.
But it's a great little printer. And it's what 600 by 300 dots per inch, and it's amazing the resolution. The DeskJets have come a long way.
They really have. I have a print sample here. Maybe we can show this and take a look at it through the camera here. One of the big issues with inkjet printing is that, you know, people go, yeah, color is great, boy, look at the colors on here, but people still do a lot of black printing, and so the black quality still has to be very good on an inkjet printer. You don't want any of that bleeding, and you want very crisp, dark blacks on there. So with the 855, we still have the very good black print quality. You can see in here the color as well is very good as well.
And it's pretty crisp and clean. That I don't know if they can see that, but that text is really small.
Yeah, and this is just plain old copier paper, same as what I was using in the LaserJet. You have the option of using some special glossy and clay-coated papers to really make the color and black text jump out at you.
Right. Okay. Now, oh, I see that says 850 and 855C. I see it on top there, but it's the same sort of, I guess it's just the demo that works with both.
Exactly. Yeah, demo works with both. And the printer here, the main differences are, as I was talking about, the driver enhancements, a little bit better in print speed quality, faster print speeds. The printer here, there's, I don't know if you're familiar with DeskJets, but there's a DeskJet family for PCs and DeskWriter for Macintosh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this one, it's only DeskJet, and the reason is we have both interfaces on the back. There's a parallel port interface for PCs and a local talk interface for Macintosh.
Great.
So it's one or the other. It's not going to be sharing for both environments. So turn it off and have it for a Macintosh, or turn it off and be for PCs.
But so you can't have both devices hooked up at the same time and use them. I mean, a Mac and a PC can't use them at the same time.
No, but it allows for the same unit for handling both platforms, and drivers are included for both platforms.
Okay, that was my next question. You said something about drivers, so it's got all the same thing. Paper is out or whatever. It has a test and all the. What do they call that? Is it Explorer?
It was Explorer. Now it's all being built right into the driver. You know, you talk about the Windows printing system, all these different enhancements within Windows printing. We're pulling it right back into the driver now.
And this does 8.5 by 11. Envelopes.
Envelope.
Anything else?
Legal.
Legal?
And of course the different European sizes there, so you can kind of adjust the little guides here. The little blue guides you see up front here can be adjusted for the different types of media.
How much paper? I mean, is that like, what is it, about 100 sheets?
Yeah, I think about 180 capacity.
Okay. Yeah, because I see there's a... And what about cartridges? Does it have one or two?
It has 2 cartridges, and if we had power to it, I could show you those cartridges, but the cartridges are over on the side there.
Cartridges, it's not plugged in?
Yeah. But basically there are 2 cartridges, one for color and one for black.
And that's good for a number of reasons. One is because you don't have to throw away the color cartridge if you run out of black.
Right.
The very first versions of these were like the 500, whatever it was, 500C, 550C or whatever. It had one cartridge that had both of them in there.
Exactly.
And it makes a big difference when you can just use up the black. Because some people may use color just every so often.
Exactly. And even with color, some people say, well, you've got all 3 colors in that one cartridge, or don't you run out of that? And the answer is that in color printing, you're usually taking those 3 colors, cyan, magenta, and yellow, and mixing them together to come up with all the different colors in there. And so in our research, we found that the color cartridges all 3 of those colors are about empty in there when you run out of the first color. So they get used pretty consistently and pretty evenly throughout that cartridge.
And it dries pretty fast. I remember when they first came out, everybody said, well, it's wet and it smears. Well, it dries pretty fast. And you almost have to rub it with your finger when it comes out. When it comes into the tray, it just falls down, and you just don't mess with it for a little while, and it'll be fine. But it's the only time I've ever had a problem with smearing is when I print out like something I didn't realize was solid black. And it's like you could almost turn it sideways and the ink just rolls off the paper. It's so thin. You've got to figure out what you're doing before you print it out. You don't want to do a solid black object. But they're pretty cool. Like I said, I use mine every single day.
Yeah, the inks have really come a long way. You know when the first inkjet printer came out from HP, what year that was? 1984. In fact, it was the same year that the LaserJet came out. 1984 is when we first had our first inkjet printer. And so we've had chemists and physicists working on the inks for, you know, over 10 years now, actually beyond that, because it was worked on in the 70s. So the inks are a very important part, pretty much a fundamental part of the whole printing process, and so we take a lot of effort into that.
And you guys, HP, and with your plotters, for example, design jets and things, and that, you know, it has to, as big as those drawings are that come out, CAD drawings and engineering drawings, it has to dry pretty fast, and again, good resolution. So, I mean, I used to be electrostatic.
Right.
I mean, electrostatic's almost a thing of the past.
Oh, you had toxic inks with those, and you had to dispose of them properly. So
exactly. So all these things are a lot better. That was I was going to ask you. I know at BMC we actually save those cards. I don't know if they. You're not supposed to throw those away, are you? Are you not supposed to throw them away?
Well, we have a pilot program going on now. I'm not sure what the status of it is as far as recycling those cartridges, but we do not recommend refilling cartridges.
Oh, we don't use them for refills, but for some reason we save them. I don't know if it's something to do with, is it something for the environment or something?
Yeah, we had a pilot program going on to see how that worked as far as getting people to send those back, and then we dispose of them, you know, grind up the plastic, what have you. Similar to what we have with the laserjet toner cartridges, where they can be sent back and we tear those apart and recycle the components.
Yeah, because I know that when you buy a laserjet cartridge, there's always some little...
A UPS sticker in there.
Right, exactly. So it actually is some incentive to send them back.
Yeah, it's COD. You don't have to pay any charges on that.
But while we're at it, why don't you say, I mean, this is your little soapbox. You can get up on your soapbox and tell us why they shouldn't recharge those things.
Okay, yeah. Well, it goes back to what I was saying about the inks and how we spent a lot of time and effort in developing these inks. It's not like we go down to the local office supply and just get some ink off the shelf and pour it in there. I mean, it was especially formulated for the inkjet process. So whenever you take one of those cartridges and take a syringe to it and pump it full of some kind of ink, there's no guarantee on what kind of print quality you get.
Right.
And so when I show you these output samples like this, where you have really good, crisp, black text and really good colors, you know, who knows what you're going to get when you use those other ones. And
does it also void the warranty if there's something goes wrong with it?
No, it doesn't void the warranty. We can't do that. What happens is that if the ink does spill inside the printer, that particular service charge or service incident would not be covered under warranty.
No.
And then once we made that repair, the warranty would pick back up after that. So it doesn't void the warranty per se on that, just that incident.
Because I've often wondered about the inkjets, because I know I've seen all kinds of people around that do the laser jets, but I've seen those for sale, like at Office Depot and things like that.
They're out there.
So it's not a good idea.
Not a good idea. It's the print quality. Like I said, all the mechanics and stuff is secondary to the ink cartridges. I mean, that's where all the R&D goes into, is getting that precise placement of the dots.
So you may save a little money, but in the long run you won't.
Exactly.
For repairs and things. They're telling me I need to take a break.
Okay.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. In case you just tuned in, this is the American Computer Enthusiast Show, or ACE, as everyone calls it. My name is Steve Reeves, and I'm the host. We've got Robert Thornton from HP. He's a system engineer, what's the other one? Technical consultant for Hewlett Packard here in Houston. And we're talking about what's new at HP. And this is new, because this is like hot off the press, as we were saying. We've already discussed the HP or Hewlett Packard 5M LaserJet, or LaserJet 5M. It's actually the correct way to say it.
That's correct.
And we've been discussing the DeskJet 855CXI, the new color inkjet. And that's, is it 600 by 600 or 600 by 300 dots print?
600 for black and 300 for color.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was close.
Yeah.
And it's we discussed the infrared connection to the computer or to the PC, and that goes through this. Is there one for that, or is it?
Yeah, we talked about those third-party accessories. There was one that would plug into a regular parallel port from Extended Systems. It's called Jedi.
Oh, okay.
And it allows you to do infrared printing.
Return of the Jedi?
That's if it's bad, yeah.
Oh, okay. And then we're going to talk about this next, the infrared network connection. But before we go any further, Robert, for some unknown reason, wants to give out his email address.
It was your idea.
No, I'm just kidding. What we have here, there's you might see a little flicker there. Just ignore that, all right? It's return of the flicker. It's Robert _ Thornton at I3125NG. Am I saying this right?
That's correct.
NG2.ATL.HP.com. We had a slight problem, so we had to shoot directly off the screen. I missed this. I missed this little ET effect here. Because we've been going for like a year now. We had this direct connection through the PC, so we don't have any like glare or anything like this. We had a small problem, so we're going directly off here. I can finally use my finger. I used to do this all the time, but it's Robert. Don't forget that _ Thornton at I3125NG2.ATL. Does that stand for Atlanta?
That's correct.
.HP.com. And so if you have any questions about anything or comments or whatever, you can just email them and let them know what's going on.
I'll do my best to get them answered.
All right. And we already talked about that. One thing I do want to show, and usually I show that. Well, we'll just talk about this at the end. We'll go and go down here real fast and go to this thing. But go ahead and start. Why don't we talk about this? The cartridges of the 855 CXI.
Yeah, I want to show how easy it is to take out the cartridges and what they look like. Remember, we tried to do it earlier, but there's a real subtle thing you have to have in order to get those cartridges out, and that is power to the printer. So we've since connected power to the printer,
right,
and lift up the cover, and the cartridges come right out. Now, one of the things.
Okay, now it's up there now.
Okay, yeah. When I open up the lid, the cartridges move over to the middle to allow me to access them. So to take them out, I'll lift up the little blue lever there, and this color cartridge comes right out. This is self-contained, so the ink and the print head are all in a system here. There are no reservoirs inside the printer, no tubes, no vacuum system there. So it's very easy to take this in and out, and you don't upset the print quality, so to speak. So I can pop this back in there without having any problems with the print.
So when you replace that, you're really replacing everything.
Right.
So if you ever had like a problem with one of those, if you replace it, you actually probably fix the problem most of the
Exactly.
time.
Most printing problems are going to be related to the print cartridges, and this is another way of how we keep the really good print quality is because we replace that whole cartridge each time. And so that was a color, and the black one is right here. Comes out much the same way.
Right. It's a little bit smaller.
A little bit smaller.
And you can't get them mixed up because one slot's a little bit bigger than the other one.
One won't fit into the other one, exactly.
I guess you could fit into a screwdriver.
Yeah, maybe get a sledgehammer or something,
Right.
kind of bang it in there and it would work.
But even me, I wouldn't get them mixed up, right?
No, normally, no, not even you. No. Normally I'd be in front of it and see it a little bit better. Just pops in there, close the lid, and it goes back into position. It's ready to print. I don't have to do any kind of priming to get it set up and ready to go again. It's very easy, very straightforward.
Oh, really? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
because I know the older versions and some other printers that are out there, it takes another 5 minutes to
recharge.
Right,
because it needs to get ink all through that reservoir system, whereas since there isn't any reservoir system in here, any pipe or plumbing, it doesn't have to do that, so it's pretty quick.
Great. Okay, we were going to, while we're at it, why don't you just unplug it and then turn it around? I don't know if the plug is long enough. We just wanted to make sure we showed people the ports on the back of this so that they
could... It's actually side.
Yeah, on the side of it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can zoom in on that right there. Like I said, this is James's brother on the camera back here, and we're trying to make him hop around as much as possible. See how good he is at the camera. Let's give him a hard time, you know? It's our job to give him as hard a time. Well, because he's James's brother, that's why.
There you go. Now, I mentioned before that this printer is supported for both the Macintosh and the PC. So we have the Macintosh connection right here and the PC connection up here. It's either or. It's not going to be sharing both platforms, but it...
And it is nice how it goes in from the side, and the power does too, doesn't it? Where does the power go?
Comes on the other side.
I just want to show people how you move it around. It's
That's pretty
it actually is pretty light, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Why do you think we have those connections on the side there, Steve? You think there's a reason for that?
To put it against the wall?
Exactly. So in terms of saving space, you can put it right up against the wall and not have to worry about the cables and connections making it stick out some.
Great. All right. Now, one other thing I like, again, we're going to hop back to the screen here real fast so they can go to the screen, if they can see this. This is the one thing we were talking about earlier on the HP web page. When you go into the peripherals part of it, it actually has sections on what's new, new products. I love using my finger again. Printer, copiers, faxes, plotters, drivers for the plotters that we're talking about, for example. I think even the older ones are still there. Some of the old pen plotters and things that are out there. Printers, scanners, there it is, multifunction products. Those are pretty slick.
Yeah, the office jets.
Right. move down a little bit here. Developers Exchange, Bright Ideas. I need to look there. System, printers, connectivity, supplies. Probably talks about, you know, different things that are available. So you can actually go around and go into whatever you want to go into. Like, for example, if we just hit over the top of printers, it'll actually go into the there's a section and there's documentation on the different printers and things like we were talking about what I downloaded.
Exactly.
Or you can go into the drivers or whatever you want to do there. So you can go down here a little ways and there's a section on the LaserJet, the DeskJet, the DesignJet, which is the plotters, printer copiers, multifunction. If you go to LaserJet printers, actually I could have just scrolled down too because I think it's all the
one big page.
same page, and which actually makes it faster. And there it is right there, the HP 5 family work group printers. There's the 5L, 5P. I don't know if anybody can see that or not. Can you see that?
Little mouse.
5P, 5L, 5. So if we hit over the top of that, it'll actually go to that page, and it has a little picture of the printer that we were talking about. There's actually a section here for the 855 CXI and everything else.
Toad, if you could go back a page with something that might be interesting to some folks there. Notice in the upper corner there's a cash in and trade up. There is a trade-in program for older laser printers, so you can get some value out of those, trade them in for newer laser
that's
printers.
pretty cool. There it is, trade-in right there. All right. But there is just, like I said, a plethora,
Yeah, very good.
a virtual cornucopia of information on this page that people use. Like I said, I use it all the time for all kinds of drivers. So why don't we go ahead and talk about this cool device? You want to do that?
Yeah.
I'll hold this one up.
Thank you very much, Vanna. That is the NetBeam IR, and it's, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's really a new product class or product category, if you will, and it's designed for laptop users so that when they're traveling around going from one office to the next, that device there would be at a travel workstation, so to speak, at one little cubicle, and then notebook users would come up and using that same infrared port that I talked about with printing, could come up and let's see, a little infrared port back here. I can show this with the NetBeam IR. They would be able to connect to the network without having any kind of LAN cables and no kind of accessory cards in the back here at all. It would connect right into the infrared. Well, then you might be asking
you can have both this and that. This and I just
you could use both, but typically you're going to be using one or the other, and because you'd probably be using network printers connected to here.
That is
and so you'd be
true.
going to like a 5SI that's network connected.
I didn't think about that.
Off of here. Okay. So this is designed for Windows 95 today, and the way it connects in the back is we've got Ethernet connections.
Yeah, it's probably good if you do that, they can zoom in. 'Cause
Yeah. So we have coax, Ethernet, and RJ45, get my bearings here, RJ45 and coax. Two different connections, one you choose which one you want to use there. And that puts them right onto the Ethernet LAN. And this is using the latest and greatest in terms of the IRDA standard, fast infrared, and this runs at about 4 megabits per second between the laptop and the infrared device. Now, of course, we'd have to have fast infrared on the laptop to get those speeds. So we get some very quick speeds in between the infrared device and the laptop. And it's really convenient for laptop users in that they don't have to have cables and figuring out, okay, what connections. Plus, the other great thing is that this one NetBeam IR, have it in his cubicle. Well, today I might be using it, and then tomorrow it might be Steve that's using that office. So I don't have to have LAN connections for each one of these users. It's just who's ever at that cubicle for the day has access to it.
Now, what does something like that run roughly?
Price range in that is a couple $100s in there.
So it's not a whole lot, I mean, compared to like an Ethernet card, but I mean, if you compare the cables and the connections and everything else, it's not a whole lot different.
Exactly.
And the convenience, more than anything else, is what's so great about it. Now, I saw that, do you have to take that back off, or how's that work, that little, is there a little space to get the cable?
Yeah, there's a cable connection.
Oh, I see, right there on the side right there. So the cable will fit through that hole like that.
Exactly.
And so you just have one of these at each workstation? Is that how you would do it?
Yeah, wherever you were going to have visitors, so to speak. So I might have some empty cubicles that my roving sales reps are going to be at, what have you, and I'd put those NetBeam IRs in those cubicles there. And that way they don't have to use the cables each time.
Now this may be a dumb question, but I'm good at those. Is there any reason people would use this on their desktop? I mean, is there any advantage, or is it mostly made for...
Mostly made for mobile users.
Mobile users?
Yeah,
because you probably wouldn't have an infrared connection on your desktop.
Yeah, we've actually had some desktop PCs that had infrared connections on it, but it was mainly to transfer files from your laptop back to your desktop or to the network. But as far as the desktop PC, it would mainly be hardwired. That's going to be usually for, for the mobile users.
Right. Now that infrared there, so it can be used for printers, network, and trading files back and forth. If you had another one of those, you can actually trade files back and forth.
Exactly. I could use something like LapLink Remote and transfer files back and forth between notebooks that have infrared ports on them.
Now what about, doesn't the little like 200LX, does that have an infrared? Can you actually transfer files back and forth?
Yeah, you can transfer between the palm tops as well. Yeah, we've been using infrared devices for a long time, mainly with our calculators. We have little infrared printers that connect to the calculators. So this really come a long way. Especially
so you guys were pioneers in this. Yeah. You've been in it for a long time, so you've got it perfected pretty good.
Exactly.
Because this is actually pretty slick.
It is.
I mean, I need to get one of these. I think it's a network now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, everybody should have at least one network at home.
Right.
Like I said, an HP server.
There you go.
Right, and Unix, a big gigantic Unix server.
In a 5SI printer, at least a couple maybe.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
Like I was saying, I just got back, and I have to start to preface this with this little thing here. I just got back from the Oracle, because I'm an Oracle nerd, at work. Oracle Application Users Group. I was there last week. So if anyone hasn't got their emails answered in the last week, it's only because I was out of town for a week. I know I should have my notebook with me, but I was on vacation a little bit there too. I was at Disney World, Orlando, and I didn't want to bring my computer. But so anybody that hasn't got an answer to their emails, I'll get back with you this week. I'll try to finish most of them tonight. All right. So don't be upset if you didn't get your answer back yet. But by the way, it was pretty cool. But how this all came about was HP was there, and they had all their servers and things, the big gigantic Unix servers, and because Oracle works great. That's what we have at BMC, and it's pretty slick. All the things you can buy. I mean, it's unbelievable the power that you can put in those servers.
Oh yeah.
I know that's another completely separate group from you, right?
It is. Yeah. I'm more on the Intel side of the house and the peripherals.
How does that break up? I mean, what kind of HP is a huge, gigantic company.
Oh yeah.
And how does it break up as far as units and things? I know you're in the PC part of it.
Exactly. We have our group in the Unix side account for a large share of the company. So I deal with the Intel-based PCs and servers, printers and networking gear. We also have our Unix side that deal with the machines you were just referring to that run the high-end application server environment. So we're kind of brother and sister part of the company, but we also have medical part of the company that deals with medical monitoring devices, cardiovascular monitoring, fetal monitoring devices. So there's a lot of things in there. Analytical. I don't know if you recall back in the Olympics in the 80s when Ben Johnson got busted for steroid use. That was determined using an HP analytical device to analyze things. So very big in that arena. Also selling components in OEM disk drives, all different types of mass storage devices there. So a whole bunch of different stuff.
So are your division, or whatever, I don't know if it's called division. Is that the same people that sell the regular desktop PCs too?
Right.
And notebooks?
Right.
So not just output devices and things for
That's correct.
PCs. And then what about plotters and things?
Plotters is our group as well. So we have the PC side and system side with regards to Intel servers and hard copy. And hard copy is everything from the high-end laser jets, design jets, the multifunction products, what else, scanners.
Right.
Now that kind of got subdivided a bit more with regards to like the retail things you see at CompUSA and Computer City. I don't really deal with. That's more the retail folks with the desk jets and scanners and that.
So there's actually like another
a group within the group. So I mainly deal with what we call corporate side of things. With
yeah, because some of those little scanners, those new little, what is it?
ScanJet 4S.
Yeah, little tiny thing that like fits between your keyboard and your desktop. Right. It's unbelievable. It's pretty cool.
And at the other end of the spectrum for scanners, we have network scanners. So a network connection for a scanner, Ethernet or token ring connects into the scanner, and you can scan in 50 documents at a time, and it connects right to a Novell network, and it sends it out to the client PC on the network.
And then what about, I like to ask as many questions as possible. I just want to make sure everybody knows all the fun things that HP does. What about things like the palm tops and things? Is that the same division, or is that another?
Same group, but kind of part of that subgroup. Again, I don't really deal a whole lot in the palm tops, but that's more of the retail products with the
Yeah, 'cause they've got
200LX.
some pretty cool new things coming out
yeah.
with that. The new little OmniGo, and I saw there was like another OmniGo that actually has a. I saw it on TV. I don't forget what it was, Computer Chronicles or something. I don't know if you saw this, but it's an OmniGo that actually has a little slot on the top for a cellular phone, and you actually have your little palm top computer, and you slide your cellular phone right on top, and it's part of the
unit.
palm top, and you flip it up, and it's cellular, you know, so you can connect to the internet or whatever you want.
Yeah.
With this little teeny little OmniGo palm top computer.
It's amazing. Yeah, I've seen those.
It's pretty cool.
Little docking station for the whole
Right,
thing there.
exactly. And but the HP has tons of different things. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I said, our standard now for desktops and things at BMC is HP.
Really? That's great.
And
appreciate it.
yeah, little plug there. Anyway, but they're good machines. I mean, they're powerful and built like ships, and you know, and you can drive your car. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. I used to say that about the plotters because I was in CAD for a long time, and sold CAD software and HP plotters. And I could always tell people the old HP 75, 85, 70.
Berthas, we call them, big Bertha.
I mean, you couldn't break the things.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to tell people all the time that they're built like a ship and you could park your car on top of them. You probably could. And they lasted forever. You couldn't kill them.
Right.
They were around forever.
Well, we have stories of people leaving their notebooks or palm tops on top of the car when they take off from parking lot and they get splattered on the road and they go back and pick it up, and the case doesn't look too good, but it works fine.
Right.
They kind of scratched up. But
They're telling me I have to wrap up here.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
I want to thank everybody for watching. By the way, it was Robert Thornton from HP. My name's Steve Reeves. I've been the host. This has been the American Computer Enthusiast Show, and we'll see you next week.